this is the story
He's
of
walking
the
around.
voodoo dildo.
Oh shit!
There's this extremely wealthy businessman, right? And he had this wife. I'm not gonna lie, she was in it for the money.
Aren't they all?
She was in it for the money, and she was always, hey, quiet in the story campfire, please. So, this wife he had was always horny, and he was worried that if he went on a business trip, she would fuck someone else, right? Because she's too horny. So, he knew he was going on a business trip, so he went around looking for something to satisfy her while she was gone, so she didn't have to rely on someone else's dick. He found this rundown shop. He said that he found this old man. This old man said, "Hey, I got the thing for you. This thing I got will keep her satisfied while you're gone. It's called the voodoo dildo." Ooh.
Oh my god. I'm scared.
He pulled out this box. It was lined with velvet, and inside of it was a dildo. He said, "Voodoo dildo," that crack in the door, to demonstrate, you see. And the voodoo dildo jumped up and fucked that crack in the door until the door split. It fucked it.
What the fuck?
Okay.
The way it worked, you just said voodoo dildo and then whatever you want it to fuck, and it'll fuck that thing until it cannot be fucked no more. The businessman thought this was a great idea. He took it back to his wife and he explained how it worked. The only problem is he didn't explain how to stop it. So, he's gone on his business trip, right? And his wife decides to use it. She says, "Voodoo dildo, my pussy." And he starts fucking her. And it doesn't stop. Because he didn't tell her the command to make it stop. So she's like, "Oh fuck, I can't make it stop." So she decides, "I'll drive to the hospital." The only problem is, since it keeps fucking her, she's swerving all over the place. A policeman sees this taking place, and he pulls her over. He says, "Ma'am, what seems to be the problem? You're swerving all over the place." She says, "Officer, you're not gonna believe me, but there's this voodoo dildo, and it won't stop fucking me." The officer says, "Voodoo dildo, voodoo dildo, my ass."
Oh no.
Damn, that was beautiful. That was good. And they all lived happily ever after.
I was in the Scouts. Yes, I was a
Your
scout.
balls dropped?
Boy Scout?
More like Army Scout.
Oh, okay.
It was called cadets, but that's the point. I think it was about 2012. Anyway, so my job was to watch the campfire for the night. The story is called "Weird Shit I Saw While Watching a Campfire." So about 2 in the morning, I hear howls about no more than 50 meters away. You can look up for yourself how it says in the yard. 20 meters away, 2 bright yellow eyes staring right at me. I don't know what the fuck they are. And it walked away 5 minutes later. And you hear just the crushing of leaves, the crushing of brush. Everything was just crunch, crunch, crunch. And all I heard was just a big growl walking away. By the time it was morning, I go over and look, and I just see a huge grizzly bear claw. Like a big footprint of a grizzly bear. And judging by the depression of the snow and everything, it was a very hungry grizzly bear. No, because this was about close to hibernation time. So that's how
Freddy Fazbear.
You may have seen a picture I posted about my night terror demons.
I have
They're
not.
called raccoons! I keep telling you this!
Sleep paralysis is a very real thing. I
And they're called
experienced it.
raccoons! I keep telling you this! Don't listen!
I've seen many things, but one of which stands out. One night, I wake up. Everything's and I can't move. Already I'm on edge because I know what's going to happen. I look around, but I see nothing. That's strange because usually I see something at least. But then, on the corner of my drawer, I see what looks like a child.
Fuck.
But this child seems a little off. Its mouth is toothy. Its skin is blue. And now it's staring right at my eyes. Already, I'm freaking out. I look away. I try to look away. I look away just for a second. And it disappears. I try to look around my room. Can't find it. And then I find it in the corner. Only now it's upset. It's crying. And it's almost like it's done something wrong. And I look at it almost to ask, what's wrong? And it looks at me and says, I'm sorry. The bad man is coming. And then everything goes black. And then I wake up.
Basically, I have a cousin, and his name is Mike. He lives out in Saskatchewan. If you don't know where that is, it's the middle of fucking nowhere, everywhere.
Yeah.
And he lives on a farm. He's not like the brightest guy, I would say, so he doesn't really have like that good of a quality of life. He used to live in the house there, but it got so like crowded with garbage and shit that he had to move into this little shack. And the shack's not looking good either. It's not looking good, guys. So that's the kind of Mike, or kind of guy that Mike is. He's quite mysterious. Like, you know, I don't really know what goes on when people aren't around, right? He lives on his own, middle of fucking nowhere, on this farm, right? And so, usually, like every year, my dad, my friend, and I, his name's Ben, we go to the farm and, you know, visit Mike and my other cousin down there named Colleen. She's actually got a nice farm. But anyways, so this one night, and I was about like 16 at the time. Ben and I, we brought a whole bunch of joints. We were gonna get baked, have a good time, right? My dad and Mike are watching a movie in Mike's little shack, you know, having a good time. And we keep hearing Mike laughing like really loud, and he's got like quite a peculiar laugh. I don't know, it's creepy. I can't replicate it, but you would just have to hear it.
Was it like a Joker laugh?
Kinda. It's more like, I don't know, animalistic. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just kind of freaky.
It made best.
So they're watching a movie together. They're laughing and stuff. We keep hearing like the laughs in the direction of the bunkhouse, and so we're like, all right, like they're occupied. I think we have a chance to go sneak off and we can go smoke a joint. And so we head out into the darkness, and it's like pitch black there. There's like no light pollution, nothing. Like you can't see a thing. So we walk out into this like kind of forested area, so we could get like a distance from Mike and my dad. We don't want them smelling the reefer, right? And we're like making jokes about Mike's laugh. Like it's pretty funny to us, you know. And all of a sudden we hear it like pretty like loud and like echoing, but not in the direction of Mike's bunkhouse. And we're like, what the fuck? Like, where? Like, what's he doing out here? Is he like is he catching on to us? Like, are we about to get busted? And we're like kind of freaked out at this point. And then my friend Ben says, look over there. And I look over and my heart literally sunk. We kind of saw like it was far enough away that you couldn't see a distinct shape, but we both saw two sets of eyes and just like some kind of dark figure like off in the distance. And we're thinking, oh, it's probably coyotes. And like we're kind of freaked out. We're a little baked. So we're like thinking we're seeing shit. We're not really like thinking it's real. And then it just fucking disappears. Like it just fucking runs off into the darkness. And we're just fucking freaked out. So we're like, alright, fuck this. We're getting back to the tent. We fucking booked it back there. Mike and my dad are still like having a good time just watching the show or whatever. And so we're like what the fuck? Like, what the fuck was that thing out there? So eventually we just go to sleep. We're freaked out. When we wake up, like where we camp, it's like pretty tall grass. So like you have to kind of like, it's like up to your like waist pretty much. And we could have sworn that when we went to sleep, like it was all standing up, right? When we woke up, we find that all of the grass is like completely flattened around our tent. And we're just thinking like, what the fuck? And we go over and like ask Mike like, what's going on here? Like, why is it all flattened? And he's like, oh, you know, that's just Steve. We're like, what the fuck? What the fuck is that? And we never got an explanation. Like, that's the only thing we heard from him.
What the fuck?
I don't... Mike is just a different breed. I don't know if he's got like a pet like skinwalker out there.
Ask him. Do you ever talk to him? Do you ever ask him about it? Like ever? Ever again?
I'm kinda... not really. Like he's white. I've heard him say the N-word more than a few times.
That didn't answer my question. Did you ask him about the skinwalker? I mean, like,
no,
you ask him...
He
like
doesn't
that...
live on the res. He just lives in the middle of Saskatchewan. Like, there's no civilization around.
Interesting.
He's not wrong. Like,
And this dude's place, it's so run down. Like, there's tons of old farm equipment and, like, run down buildings and shit from the old farm. It's freaky.
So,
Yeah.
your friend just has a planeswalker in the middle of Saskatchewan
My cousin,
named Steve.
And then Colleen, my other cousin, she actually has a respectable farm. She has the Shadow Man who appears to her sometimes at night.
Ooh.
So they both kind of got like a little entity or whatever.
Any more details on that, or no?
Oh, what? Slender Man just shows up at your house or something?
The Shadow Man, she kind of like says that he's like a good guy or something, but basically she'll just like go out to like feed the chickens or whatever at night, and she'll just see like the Shadow Man pretty much.
Okay,
The shadow jerking.
So 10 years
You
ago,
got this,
so 10 years ago, I stayed at a place called the Shanley Hotel. It's outside New York, like upstate New York. It's very haunted. It's a privately owned hotel that's the Ghost Hunters actually been to if you ever watch the show. What's very interesting about this place is it's basically you can pay $75 and stay the night, and it's very small. It's only like 3 floors, and no one else stays there besides the people who run the place. It's only like this dad, mom, and daughter, so it's not like a very big staff. It's not like you don't expect breakfast in bed type thing. It's basically just there to experience the paranormal. So I went there with me, my dad, my cousin, and my sister. So we went there. I'll start walking around the circle acting like I'm spooky, but basically what happened was we went there the first night, and what was very interesting about this whole experience was like everything was very off to begin with. Even the people who worked there was a little sketchy, to say the least. But later in the day, we actually had actual ghost hunters come with us to this event because I didn't realize, I guess they were trying it out too. And I didn't realize that every room we stayed at had a story. Like, for example, one room, mobsters in the 30s stayed there and actually got shot and killed there. And I could tell you more details about that in a sec. Like, one room, a little kid, I think, died in like 1910, to say the least, they said. He got hit by a car, but his ghost still remains in the hotel. Basically, every room had a story, was what I'm trying to say. So basically, when nighttime hits, it's me, like I said, the people I went with, the owner of the place, and then the 2 ghost hunters, and we're basically going room to room. So the first floor we go to, we basically get these lawn chairs out, and we're just sitting in the hallway. Complete darkness, there's no sound whatsoever. This is 2012, keep in mind, so no one's like on their phone every 2 seconds, and everything was just quiet. So basically, we're not hearing a sound, we're not seeing anything, we're just, very quiet. Then out of nowhere, we just hear these conversations, like, from people, and like, in a distance, like a party happening. And you could hear, like, we can't understand what they're saying, but we could hear voices, though. My dad said he looked to the right and saw somebody, and then it turned into like it turned to dust. That was the way he put in his terms. But then what was very scary about that whole situation was we went to this one room with the ghost hunters, and they had, I don't know if you guys know anything about the audio recordings they could do, where they asked if someone's in the room, and then they had like this device that could pick up a ghost's audio from time to time. And that's what happened. They actually got the audio of the kid's voice, actually, and I got to hear it, and I heard a little kid say hello. So it was the real deal, and I was fucking, my hair on my arms were sticking out. I was fucking freaked out. It was scary. But then the fun didn't end there. We went to this one room in the hotel where they basically said you cannot go into this room if you're a male, because the ghost in that room was like throwing items at I guess males, because she was a prostitute that ended up dying there. So I wasn't allowed to actually go into the room because they closed it off for males, so no one decided to go into that room. But what I didn't know is that basically that there was a slave that actually either was hung in the area and his ghost still resided there. So what was very interesting is the ghost hunters had this machine, and the machine, I guess, emitted energy and this is like what they say. Basically, you'll ask the ghost a question, energy goes into the air, and I guess they use that energy supposedly, and it will answer questions. And basically, we were asking him questions, and he was actually answering. This supposed slave, I guess let's call him Clarence, was answering questions that we've been asking him. And we asked him, like, when did he die? He said like late 1800s supposedly, because this hotel has been open since, like I said, the late 1800s. So what was scary about it is he was just answering all these questions, and like very vividly. So it wasn't like bullshit, like yes, no. He was like giving us like locations, like the date he died, stuff that was like very vivid. So it wasn't like he wasn't bullshitting us. So basically, to end this, I'll say this one last thing that basically gave me the chills. Basically, there was a room, and this is true. There's this room for this guy called the Butcher. It says in the name. He basically, I guess, killed people and used their meat. And I'm saying this is a true story. Basically, the Butcher actually killed people and actually used their meat and sold it. This is back in the 20s, supposedly. But the most interesting thing about it, if you want to believe it or not, is there's a mirror. And basically what they said was, look in the mirror and you'll see yourself as the Butcher. What I did is I looked in the mirror. I did not see myself as the Butcher, but I snapped a screenshot. What I look at now, I found this out kind of years later after looking at it. I looked at the picture of myself, and my neck was like a different like color. Like, I'm trying to describe this and don't think it's like a filter, because I just had a normal like camera phone. It wasn't like an edit. These were before like Instagram filters were like a big thing, so I never like edited my pictures. But when I basically just snapped a random screenshot of myself, a random like selfie on that mirror, and I see like my neck is like a different color in a weird way to describe, like white as a ghost, and my face was different. So the best way I can describe it is I think that was something paranormal. I could be wrong, but I look at the image from time to time. If you want me to send it to you, I could find it. It's gonna take a while, but basically I was looking at my neck, and it was a completely different color, and it just gave me fucking chills. So what I'm going to say in closing is I basically was really fucking freaked out. So I went back to my room that night, and it turns out that room was haunted as well when I was just drawing, because I was so drained from that day. I don't know if there was anything paranormal about that, but I was just exhausted. I wanted to go home. I was like, what did I fucking get myself into? I'm not used to this type of shit. So I was in the room drawing, and I heard some weird shit happening when I was like drawing. So I was like, I just want this night to be over. But overall, that was my haunted experience with the paranormal, and yeah, I don't want to go there anytime soon. That was 10 years ago. But yeah, that was it. Hope you enjoyed my story.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
If anyone wants to go go to the Stanley Hotel, let me know.
Buddy, that was 9 out of 10.
I bring the party right now. Like, search this up on YouTube. Basically, people stay at this hotel and post videos at the like on YouTube about their experience. This one girl, she slept at the hotel and she left herself like an audio recorder in the room where the gangster supposedly died, like the two mobsters I said that died in the 30s, and you can actually hear audio recordings of them having a conversation, like she's snoring, she's sleeping, blah blah blah, like they're having like this weird conversation with themselves. It's like a real thing. It's really fucking creepy. So yeah, and yeah, there's actually bullet holes in the room we went into. So they, I guess, got shut up. But yeah, that's what I have to say.
A cat for close to 13, 14 years. And when I had lived in the other house, I used to let the cat out at night, and the cat would come back during the day. But when I moved into the hotel, the cat refused to go out. And I couldn't get the cat to come into my apartment. For some reason, the cat wouldn't come into that room. And the minute I bring it into the room, she'd take right out the door. So I started feeding her outside in the hallway. And she would roam the building. Then after a while, she started going up to the 3rd floor. And she would come down to the 2nd floor, she would eat, and she'd go back up to the 3rd floor. Then after a couple of months, she refused to come down off the 3rd floor. And she would stay in Claire's room. And we picked up an EVP one night of Claire saying that it was her cat.
What would you like me to do with this room? Destroy.
Destroy.